It is probably one of the most tiniest lenses that I've ever seen, or one of the most tiniest lenses that I've ever had in my hand, actually. Welcome to episode 2 of the Monochrome Legacy Series. Earlier this week I mentioned that I had purchased the cheapest lens that I've ever purchased. And here it is with the Double T Artisan 35mm lens. It is the tiniest lens I've ever purchased. This kind of lens actually reminds me of the film cameras, such as the one that I once had back at my old institute that I went to school at, which was the Vivitar. And yeah, this pretty much reminds me of that. This is bringing that back. But I mean, it's a great lens for its price, for $79 on B&H. So when I purchased this, I kind of was expecting it to be a little bigger, but I mean, it came in and it was this tiny. I had a pretty good laugh about it because the moment I got the package, I opened it up, I was excited, and when I opened it, all of a sudden I just seen a small tiny lens compared to the one that I normally use when I go out and do some photos. Some samples of how this lens looks and the sharpness of it are going to be coming up right now. This is a manual focus lens. There is no autofocus. Being that it is this small as well, I don't see how it could actually be able to fit a autofocus capability. It's a good lens for its price. I'm actually considering to take this out into the field more often and actually shoot with just this lens because of how controlled it is, really. I like to be in control of the photos that I take, so I mean, this suits very well. Anyway, enough with this lens. Now recently, within this past weekend on Saturday, I uploaded the second image of the Monochrome series, which is going to be this particular photo. Now with this photo, it was great to capture it. It's similar and in the same time as the very first photo for the Monochrome series. So it is pretty much the same water that was actually taken. And one of the things that I like about it is the fact that I was able to get, for one, the water going through the canyon. That's always a great thing to see when you go up to visit Sayet. And the second being the clouds. The other thing that I really admire about this photo is the homestead on the down part of the composition. Usually during the summertime, the homestead that is seen within the composition would actually have a growth in corn and other vegetables that are pertaining into the culture. For this particular photo here, the words that bring this photo together is, where the cold walls welcome the spirits of many, where the water flows and kids swimming, the stories continue to be told from generations ago, generations today, and generations to come, home. Now the meaning behind these particular words is, where the cold walls welcome the spirits of many. Now, growing up, to me, and why this particular photo is of importance to me, and also with the canyon as well, is because growing up, there is a sense of belonging, a sense of growing, and you come to understand that within your growth. And every time whenever I went down into the canyon, when you touch these walls, when you touch the canyon walls, in some cases they're going to be hot, in some cases they're going to be cold. It depends on the weather as well, and the season. Usually it's during the summer, where the water flows and kids swimming. Now this is where the water comes in. This is where the water comes in and why this photo was captured the way it was captured. Where the water flows and kids swimming is a direct line toward childhood memories. It is something that resonates to me because of the fact that growing up, you go down to the canyon and there used to be a whole lot of water going through. Water usually used to flow through, and we'd usually go down there, play in the water, do some volleyball and all that stuff, and go down there. And so that's where the cold walls are welcoming the spirits of many. Each of us were young spirits. Each of us were spirits that were coming in. Each of us have our own spirit within ourselves. And so that is where the canyon walls were welcoming us, because there is where we were going to be playing, to be swimming, to be having fun. We were kids. We were being like kids down in the canyon. The stories continue to be told, just as I'm doing now. Just as I'm doing now and sharing that experience of being down there. When the water is flowing and being within the canyon walls, you know you're welcomed. And these are stories, and you'll be hearing stories like such from across many people that are within the area, who live within the area, or even have lived in the canyon. And that is particularly why the stories are continuing to be told. Now, the stories, on the other hand, the stories are told from generations ago. Stories from generations being passed down. Where that these stories are being told within the current generation, within the generations today, such as mine, and generations to come. These stories have yet to be told from those that have yet to go within the canyon. Those who have yet to walk the land. Those who have yet to have that experience. And they will soon come so that they can actually tell those stories. They could actually come into existence and walk in to that canyon and walk along the land and walk along the walls, and they're going to be able to tell the stories themselves as well. And they're going to hear from our stories, my generation, generations before me. This is a continuous cycle. And then the last line, home. Everything that has been said within those lines all resort to home. Everything resorts to home. The stories that are being told, they're going to continue to be welcomed as well. And so that is the purpose and the meaning behind the picture that I just took with the Monochrome series, this particular photo. And that is how the second photo of the Monochrome series came to be. Yeah. Now, being that the second photo of the Monochrome series has now been brought to you, 3 is going to be coming out very soon, actually. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. Be creative.